Welcome back to Tales of Two Bros. I am Angel,
I'm a Don.
and this is our series review of Masters of the Universe Season 2 and He Man and the Masters of the Universe Season 1, both on Netflix. You have the power. I have the power. You have the power. You have the power. You have the power. You have the Everyone has the power.
Okay, Oprah.
Spoilers, just in case you haven't seen it. So just be forewarned. For those who are first time viewers or listeners, we're not pros at this. We're just fans of so many genres of the action genre, the cartoon genre, sci-fi, all that stuff. So don't hold it against us. It's just our opinion, like you have yours. All right. Now, I just finished watching season 2 of Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe. Overall, good, but not as good as season 1.
I felt the other way around.
Really? Why is that?
For season 1, it felt like it was lacking some stuff. It was a lot of world building, and it was like, for those who are not familiar with Eternia, the characters, they're literally meant to be one season. First of all, let's just clear it out of the way. When you watch both of them in succession, it makes sense as one season.
Mm-hmm.
In part 2, though, if you just know, like, okay, season 1 just gets to this point that they lost Eternia's now in like end of world times. They're losing the magic. He-Man died. Skeletor died. After years later, they tried to reclaim the magic, and Skeletor resurrects himself magically, and in the process, gains the power of Grayskull. Right there, I just summed up the entirety of season 1. I can go into season 2 just fine, putting a couple pieces together. This one, season 2, had, in my opinion, more action. There was more intensity. I could be wrong for season 2.
For me, I felt like season 1 had more action.
Really?
Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. I mean, I guess we have to go back and check our original review.
It literally opened up with that. Well, granted, they both opened up with action on the first episode.
Well, yeah, it comes right off the end of season 1. You just pick up right from there. But I just felt there was more action. Yes, there was world building in the first season, but it just felt more action in every season. I mean, there's one episode on this season, there's no action at all. None. Episode 3, the gutter rat. It's just telling stuff. I mean, it could be, if you want to consider where Evil Lynn is getting chased, that's action, which was like really nothing.
Yeah.
If you want to consider that, then that's fine. But like here on the average, each episode, it was like 25 minutes each episode, if you don't count the end credits, like I don't. The longest action there was, it was multiple things going on, but it was about 13 minutes in the last episode. That was like about 30-minute episode with 13 minutes of action. And it was good because it had multiple things going on. But to me, I was not as excited, or I wasn't learning anything new, or some other characters. In the first season, there was like new characters or revisiting old characters into this new version.
Yeah, they were revisiting old characters into the story.
Here, not so much.
But we got more Skeletor.
That's definitely true. And more He-Man. No.
Yeah. No, we did.
No, we got Prince Adam, not so much He-Man.
No, we had more Prince Adam in the first part or first season. Because remember, he only turned into He-Man on the first episode where he died. And then after that, he was in, not Eternia, their version of Heaven.
Right.
And that's where we get Prince Adam again. And they even say that, like, he could have came back as He-Man, but no, he stayed as Prince Adam. Here in season 2, not only do we get more Prince Adam than what we did in season 1, we also get He-Man, obviously, and we get Barbarian He-Man, or Savage He-Man, which was also
a real thing.
That's a real thing. That was from the He-Man comics, where he goes back in time, and so that was the actual thing that happened there too. Okay. And we get Skeletor. So that was one of the biggest arguments that a lot of people had for part 1. You're like, how can you have Masters of the Universe with essentially no Skeletor and no He-Man? You might as well be calling it at that point a She-Ra show, when they were originally advertising it as like He-Man.
Wow. Well, let's say that for later on the final episode.
Which I also had a problem with that too for the last bit of the episode.
I thought it was cool because
It's cool,
So
but
anything.
then I was like, okay,
Well, I was just thinking, are they going to marry the two? But
probably
and bring them together. But not. Well, don't marry the two. That's
the
they're are they
concepts.
cousins or they're concerts or cousins or
Uh,
brother and sister separated? They're Luke and Leia.
well, no,
Or they're cousins.
technically, she was supposed to be his cousin, but the way they were doing Tila,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I remember when we first originally did the first season, we thought, or I thought, that they were grooming Tila
to be Shira,
as,
to be his
well, not just
replacement.
Shira, but the master of the universe.
Yeah,
We knew she was related to the sorcerers.
there was hints
Yeah, those strong hints. And then we find that out
in part
with,
two. Definitely early on into the second half of the season, where
right.
they were like, we find out Man at Arms had a little thing with the sorcerers.
Before that happened, I don't think she was that yet, the sorceress yet. She didn't commit, but I guess she was asked to do it, or
No, they showed in the episode that she committed after Tila was born.
I guess it was just her duty to take up the helm. But anything else? I'm sorry, because I know I cut you off, but you were saying that you did like this season for because of why? Because it had a better pace, or
That's it. I felt like it had a better pacing. Like I was not feeling like I was drifting off more. I was more intrigued into it. They had some good shock moments, like when I knew they were gonna bring in Orko, but I didn't know where or how. I'm like, Orko is dead, and then they
right.
resurrect everybody. I'm like, that's cool. The bit about Beastman, that was a little bit too much for me.
When he became actual beast.
Yeah, he was like, I'll be whatever you want me to be. And although I could see the parallels between his relationship with Evelyn as well as Evelyn's relationship with Skeletor, I could actually,
Yeah,
and I could see that as like she became what she hated about Skeletor in those moments.
it was a love triangle, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
no one really knew. Skeletor liked Evelyn, but only for more like to serve his purpose. She hated him, but he served a purpose for her. Beastman loved Evelyn, but she had no interest in him. She became what she hated.
Mm-hmm.
She just went over and beyond because she wanted to destroy everything. She went total extreme.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely in that. But like there was those things were still there, you know.
Right.
Like, and she was taking all her frustrations out on everyone else of what she had dealt with over time. And so I was seeing that in there. Now, I will say one of my favorite moments was when Skeletor and He-Man teamed up, and it was before they changed. And he goes, "Look, Evelyn." He's like, "I brought Panther. You miss him?" And you see that he has so much more affection for Panther than anyone
Right.
else. And then she kills him, and it's like the most emotional Skeletor has ever seen. He goes, "I'll kill you," and he's like, and he just goes crazy trying to fight her. That sums up their relationship and his mentality, that he will put the very steed that he rides and the animal that he's would arguably say is a pet over the lives of anybody else.
But I don't remember seeing Panther in the first season.
He was there for a moment. It was like
Okay.
it was just like for a brief moment, like he was riding him or something like that.
In the first review or a review of our first season,
Mm-hmm.
that I told you that Skeletor got really big when he changed, above Grayskull, like gigantic. He's like, no, I think that's more for effect. But yet he does it. So I was like, aha, I was right. He can do that.
Mm-hmm. And Evelyn
but
does it too.
oh, I'll tell you this: when she turned into Grayskull, Evelyn,
Mm-hmm.
hot.
I don't deny that.
Hot.
Although I
Her
question like,
design was,
why the short hair?
I don't know.
I didn't like
And
the
when
short
she
hair.
and when she turned back, when she released the power of Grayskull,
Her hair
her
stays
hair
short.
was still short.
That was the
Her
weird thing.
her costume design was really cool. I like that when she opened the cape, it was like the galaxy or the cosmos. It was showing that she was everything. She was
It's like,
everything.
I've attained omnipotent power.
Anything else that you liked before we go to anything we disliked?
I think the animation for the fights were better. Great example when he goes to Savage He-Man form and he's fighting Skeletor. It's arguably like Incredible Hulk style, but they're like the
Yes, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my god, he's Hulk here. There's because
yeah.
he's not really thinking. He's grunting and he's huge. He's bigger than
Ever before. and bigger than Skeletor. But the animation with it, like the fight scene looked great. And I'm like, if you turned them green, I would have been like, this would have been a great Incredible Hulk fight scene.
I'm sorry. There are some scenes or animation that reminded me of anime.
Yeah.
It also reminded me of like the opening scene credit of Thundercats. I can't remember where, but it was like purple lasers or something like that was grabbing onto something. It looked like something from Thundercats. And I was like, "Ooh,
not the dungeon."
Yeah, that
right?
and Silver Hulk. You know when they put the in the opening credits, they always have the animations like the up level.
Yeah, no.
Then the story is like crap.
It was like a professional grade animation around that time, right. And then the after the opening credits, you could tell it dropped like to about 2 bars.
For me, my favorite episode was the origin story of Evil-Lyn. It had no action. No one knows her origin in that detail. So it was kind of cool to see. And Savage He-Man was awesome. I enjoyed all of that. It also reminded me when he's coming down to kill the king and he's sliding down the trees. I thought of Tarzan, Disney's Tarzan, when he's surfing down the trees because his hair is long. He's wearing a loincloth. He's jacked up, doing it. He's very agile. He's going through. But the best moment for me was the return of Orko.
Orko was a boss in both season 1 and 2.
The way he came back and he's like multiple Orkos.
It's like Watchmen because they were all operating on their same mind at the same time. And it's like Dr. Manhattan. He has multiple versions of himself, but Orko's just more entertaining.
At first, when I saw the tassel or the belt, I was like, "What is that?" That's Orko. And then he comes up and he shows up as like again a boss on this one. For me, that was the best part of the second season. Oh, every time he did a special power or he bolted, the same sound effect. I don't know if you caught it. Is from the original He-Man series when he did like a magic trick or.
Oh no, I missed that.
Yeah, it was. You heard it. It was there. It was not subtle, but it wasn't that like in your face or in your ears. It's from that little honor of the original series. In the last episode, where again Skeletor says the famous battle cry. That's his battle cry towards He-Man. Let this be our final battle.
I don't want to say that was what he did in the actual series. That's an homage to Masters of the Universe, the movie.
Right, but he also said it in the first season.
And that's true.
And I did like when Skeletor, like after everything is done, Skeletor is still going after He-Man. And He-Man's like, dude, this is not about you and me. And he just tosses him.
Yeah,
and I was like, it shows that Skeletor is very limited.
Yeah.
Evil-Lyn, she was more like visionary, more seeing the bigger picture.
You could also say that was his strength in a way because he has that singularity of focus that he just wants to be superior to the one that was He-Man and gain that power. It gives him that drive and focus there. It's very limiting in that aspect. He can't see beyond it. It's like he has blinders. But when he was given all that power and he goes into the sorcerer's thing, he sees I guess they show the multiverse. It's like looking into the abyss, and you know how the saying goes, like when you look into the abyss, it looks back or something like you don't blink or something like that. He didn't blink. Evil-Lyn, he took her in. She looked along with him. She blinked, and then she's like, "This is nothing. This is futile. This is like inevitable. Like we're all, we all might as well die." And that's where she gets that. He knew that he did that to her,
and of course, it's extreme. Her vision
becomes twisted.
I caught an Easter egg. I'm not sure if I've ever seen it in any of the regular original series, but He-Man's on a saucer, and that reminded me of the movie.
Also, speaking of the movie, there were characters in the movie that only existed in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And
like the troll.
And I want to say that one of the hunters that they had in the movie he had the blades on his side of the face. He was like the only human looking guy. Because remember they had the lizard guy and the beast man, but they weren't beast man and they weren't like the other ones. And then they had one guy who just looked normal. And I want to say that guy wasn't a character from the show, but they put him into the cartoon.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, he was in the dungeon when they were trying to capture Man-at-Arms.
Oh, you're talking about the two characters? The little one and the big one? They were like fighting.
Yeah, I want to say
Teela.
I think he was like a third one, but I could be wrong. It's been
in
my defense. It's been a minute since I've seen this season, but
because there was 2 episodes. Two episodes. There was 2 characters in that when an arms escape
Yeah.
and Tila's there with Andra, her sidekick.
He looked like a
That-
bald version of Shredder.
He's from the movie.
Yeah, he's in the movie. His character's in the movie.
Oh, cool.
Ah,
Yeah, I guess that's a nice Easter egg there. Also, another thing that I heard that Skeletor says to He-Man after everything is all done, that he still wants to fight He-Man. He says, "I will not be ignored." When I heard that line, I went straight to Clank Close and Fatal Attraction.
I mean, it's arguably the same kind of thing.
Sometimes they put stuff in movies and shows as Easter eggs, and to do it just to have fun with it, or it could be accidental.
Well, I mean, I could
something
feel
else.
like Mark Hamill doing improv like that, and that could be a thing. I mean, honestly, like around that time when they were having that moment, like he literally tells He-Man, he's like, because like you said, he's like, why are we fighting? He tells He-Man, he's like, our one chance of beating her is out. Have you seen her? We're all gonna die, and if we're gonna die, I'm taking you down first. That's his mentality. He's like, he wants to be the guy who takes out He-Man.
Who was also like that, of which he played? The Joker.
Yeah.
No one else could take down the Batman. It was the Joker's responsibility to take down the Batman in that way. Either kill him or make him break, because that was the Joker's goal. So you can see that similarities here then. If that's what you're saying, that's where I'm seeing it.
Oh yeah, no, the similarities
Skeletor's-
are definitely there.
And then it's voiced by the same actor.
Mm-hmm.
The last scene of the season,
The end credit scene.
right? Well, it wasn't really an end credit scene because it happened before the credits, and it should have been. It could have.
Yeah,
It was a perfect Marvel moment.
this is true. They could have done like mid credit or post credit scene, and they
Right.
did it like a pre credit scene. It was a little bit out of place. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
I can't remember the villain's name.
Yeah, and it's escaping me
It's
right now
related-
because I was thinking about it, but it had to do with Motherboard.
And She-Ra. I enjoyed that episode a lot more because of that and scene. It got me excited to see, how are they going to do this? How are they going to bring her in?
Mm-hmm.
Or are they not going to bring her in yet and just focus now on the next baddie coming into play? And then it probably at the end of the third season, we'll probably get a little introduction of She-Ra.
And that was a thing that caught me off guard because I was certain if they were going to spin off and not have Skeletor be a villain, I thought it was going to be Skullglow.
But he was taken down.
Yeah, but like he could have came back because you can make the argument the veil between the underworld and their world has been broken because of the evil end, yada yada yada. But now they're going more into the Motherboard thing. I was like, oh, okay, so they just had him as a bad guy who was supposed to be a big bad. He got burned like twice.
By Orko. Orko was just a badass. And I'm sorry, when he was about to go back to heaven, I was like, no. And then Evil Lynn saves him.
She saves him. But that's the funny thing is like the one character of any mythos of He-Man who we all know he has power, but like he's never been known as Orko the Badass.
In the original series, he was like comic relief.
Pretty much.
I did have some quips, and it was just the Queen. For some reason, the voice didn't match. She felt like she was the same age as Tila, the voice.
Oh, for the voicing?
Right. It didn't sound mature. It didn't sound experienced. And we come to find out that she was a badass herself because she was a pilot and she fought. But what I'm saying is the voice played by the girl from Clueless,
Alicia Silverstone?
but she sounds as old as Tila, who's played by
Sarah
Buffy.
Michelle Gellar.
It would just been better, I think, if you had a woman that was more experienced in the voice. She's like my age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you're talking about like the way that she portrays her voice, not to make it
Right.
sound so young. Maybe it sound like it's been around a little bit or like
Right.
hasn't. I got you.
Granted, I do like season 1 better, but this was good and it was easy to follow. It was quick.
It did feel quicker. That's what I enjoyed about it. I kind of want it more as far as if we're talking about like opportunities for improvement. I actually want it since they got rid of Heaven. I'm like, does that mean all the characters that were in Heaven got nuked as well? Because there were some excellent characters that I would love to send like make an appearance again. Like Moss Man, I was like I could go without, but I was like I wanted to see the other He-Man.
Grayskull got taken out too.
Yeah.
So that means if she resurrected the dead, that means that Grayskull, and the others.
Resurrected the underworld, not the heaven. Like it's like resurrecting hell versus heaven.
So Orko was in hell?
Yeah, because remember he sealed the gate behind himself fighting Skullglow.
You're right. And forget that badass moment.
It was a good moment. So there was some things that I was like, I would have loved to see. Overall, I think it was a good moment as a whole. Personally, I would tell anybody watching this, definitely parts 1 and 2, just watch them together. I honestly wouldn't even considering this like season 1 and 2. I would just say parts 1 and 2 is one full season to me.
Let's go to our reviews. Our reviews, our grading. Because for me, if it's untouched or unedited, multi-fun.
For just part 2 or like in conjunction? Both together. Okay.
Either one, really, because you can watch this, since you can watch this in less than 2.5 hours, which is like an average movie.
True.
But if they did a re-edit and put season 1 and 2 together and make it one film, ready for purchase.
Ooh. Okay.
Each episode does have a nice flow from one into the next. And the time will be also shorter. Granted, it'll probably be a 4-hour movie, but I'm okay with that because it.
Okay.
You?
Well, if we're going to seal a deal with parts 1 and 2 together, I would say it's a multi-fun for sure. Especially for if you're a He-Man fan and you had problems with part 1 because it was almost no He-Man, part 2 fills in that gap. You do get that He-Man flavor that you were missing in part 1. So putting them together and considering it as one season, that is accomplishing the goal. Definitely more mature than what our kid version was when we were growing up in a lot of aspects. Right. But it feeds that need.
Good. That being said, and that was a good point to go to segue into the next thing. Pretty much as soon as season 1 of Masters of the Universe, Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe, Netflix released He-Man and the Master of the Universe. When that came out, I remember I texted you and it's like, have you seen this? Like, yeah, we did a review on it. I was like, no, bro. Netflix released a new series called He-Man and the Master of the Universe. So let's talk about that in 3, 2, now. All right. So I saw the first season. You did not, even though I told you to check it out to get your take on it.
Yep. I didn't even see any clips to it. And honestly, when he sent me this image, I'm like, why are you sending me an image of a video game?
The animation reminds me of the Jack Black video game.
The Barbarian Rockstar one.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about. It's the only Jack Black video game. If anybody looks it up, that's the only one that exists.
Brutal Legend.
Yeah, he does look like Brutal Legend.
When I saw this, yes, I was confused. Why would Netflix do this? Why would they invest in 2 projects? Masters of the Universe? Granted, this is a little different in a way that this is He-Man in the Master of the Universe, and that was Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe, but same characters, different animation, different storyline.
It's for the children.
You're on the nose on that. And also, I had to make my head go into a multi-universe version. Okay. Because Kevin Smith's feels like a sequel to the original. This is for kids. It retells the story. Man-at-Arms and Teela are not father and daughter. Oh, Cringer is a badass from the get without being transformed.
Okay.
He's called Cringer, but he's not scared. He's like Prince Adam's guardian. Well, the thing is different here, like real quick. I know you haven't seen it, but it has a touch of Lion King, has a touch of Power Rangers, Voltron, all that stuff where 5 become 1.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are there giant robots too?
I can't remember right now because it's been a while since I did see it because it was around the same time of season 1 of Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe. But when I was watching it, I was hating it at first. And then I was like, let me look at it with brand new eyes. And I started enjoying it because I understood that this is for kids, for younger generation. Kevin Smith's Master of the Universe is for our generation, more adult friendly.
Okay.
He-Man here has the ability to share his power, just like in Shazam.
Well, he did it in the Kevin Smith's version too.
Yeah, but not as like here. It was like pretty much from the get almost that everyone had a power, and then now it became a team. Later on, like first they had to have him start off and say the words for everyone to transform, and then it became part where each individual can say the phrase and they turn on their own. They didn't need him.
Gotcha.
Similar to what we saw here with the Kevin Smith series, but also with Shazam, like they can change and transform with saying that word.
Yeah,
once they get
that's
touched.
exactly like Shazam, because Mary Marvel at first needed him, and then eventually she was able to transform on her own.
They all had their moves.
Looking at this image, I mean, like right here, I can tell the sorceress is behind you to He-Man's left. Who is this little girl?
She's a speedster. I think that's I want to say that's Teela, and I can be totally wrong.
And what about this guy with the hammer?
Man at Arms.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like, it makes sense because he had big shoulders, and like, I don't know if it's on both sides, but one arm does. But
Now
Teela the speedster, I don't know.
I want to say that could be definitely wrong.
And they changed the emblem of He-Man to the sword on his chest.
Right, and the sword is like two swords in one, two blades in one.
Yeah, which plays into the mythos.
I'm forgetting all the
characters.
So yeah, because there's 5 of them. But let me see who I'm covering.
You only have Cringer.
Cringer's part of it. Cringer is part of the 5.
Okay, so there's Cringer, the sorceress.
It is Teela and
Man at Arms. But the interesting thing is, like, in the original series, the sorceress is like, I'm a spectator. Here, it looks like she is not a spectator.
And the thing is, like, Teela has it's not Teela. Teela is the sorceress because Teela has powers. She's a magician.
So they did have an Orko.
Orko's a robot. Like I said, is similar to the Lion King because Skeletor is actually his uncle.
I think they made that in like not the original series, but in the remake that they did in the cartoon. Remember, there was a cartoon before the Kevin Smith one that they tried to
several cartoons, right?
Mm-hmm. Probably, but one of them is like they did like the origin of Skeletor, and it turned out to be his uncle.
Well, they used it here because I didn't know that. I didn't see that animation series. And that Prince Adam had amnesia. Yeah, because the uncle really tried to like kill him. He was trying to be the next on the throne because he wanted to he wanted to be next on the throne. He knew that Adam was next, that he will still be prince. So he got rid of Prince Adam, or tried to, and he was raised by Cringer.
Oh, that really is like the Lion King right there. It's like
right,
or maybe Jungle Book.
Exactly, very Disney, but it is actually pretty good. I would suggest to watch it if you get over the change of where everyone that were adults that we knew are now all kids or teenagers.
I mean, and it shows that's like when I watched Voltron. They're all teenagers when Netflix redid that one.
Well, that's another great series.
That series was way better than it should have been for many reasons.
They show how Trapjaw becomes Drapjaw, which is kind of funny.
How he lost his jaw?
Yeah, and it just builds up. It just builds up. And how Beastman becomes Beastman, and how Evil-Lyn becomes even more evil. And then when Skeletor becomes Skeletor, he gives his minion their powers. And they become full force. They're all related to the power of Grayskull, where in the original and Kevin Smith's series, they were like that. So I would definitely say for kids and for adults, this is actually relatively good to watch. I would definitely pick the Kevin Smith version, but this is a good multi-universe, Elseworld readaptation of the lore.
So what about the action though? Like
more it was more kid friendly, but was not like Teenage Ninja Turtle kid friendly in the cartoons, where they'll hit someone in the ankle and that fighter or villain will run away off screen because they got hit in the ankle.
Okay, so like, have you ever seen the Guillermo del Toro series, either Three Below or Troll Hunter?
No. I meant to see those.
You could tell they're meant for kids, younger audience, but they have, I dare say they have some really good action sequences. I would check this out because they're both on, all of them are on Netflix. I would check this out just to compare between those. Mm-hmm. If you get a chance, check those out. I'll check this out. We can compare notes, and that will be interesting.
Real quick. What is funny though, that they all have a special ability, right? Just think like
Shazam's family.
Well, no, yes, but what I'm saying is like, you know how you play a fighting game like Street Fighter and you put a certain combo and they do that combo, right?
Yeah.
And if you do like a supercharged one, it becomes a really crazy animation feat.
Yeah.
When He-Man has his move, it all does the whole sequence before he lays it down. Same thing for Cringer, for Man at Arms, and also Man at Arms in this one is the comic relief.
The complete opposite of what he was.
Yes, Orko somewhat, but he's more of a robot.
He's like the C3PO. He's like, he just kind of stumbles over his words or something like that.
No, but Orko stands for something. Yeah, it's an anagram.
And so, where in the original storyline, or at least Kevin Smith's storyline, Orko is short for Oracle, where here it's like just his code for him as a robot.
Exactly. I want to say the girl, the speedster, is his best friend. He-Man's best friend.
That might be
Teela. No, it's not Teela. Teela is the one that has to find him. Like her journey is to find him to bring him the sword.
Maybe it's his cousin She-Ra. I forget what She-Ra's real name was.
The speedster?
No, in She-Ra.
No. Talking about the speedster. That's because they have a speedster in this group, in this Justice League. There's only one season right now. And 10 episodes for the first season. Well, most likely it'll be another season coming out since the second season of Master of the Universe just came out. Most likely this will come out in probably 2 weeks or so, the time of this recording. But I do recommend this to you to get a feel for the point of view, or for kids under 10, definitely multi-watch. Kids over 10, maybe if you like it, if you like this kind of animation, if you like this kind of story, if you like the power of 5 or a team of 5 becoming one, sure. And I'll probably rewatch this myself just to get refamiliar since it's been a while, and see how season 2 comes.
You know what? I'm willing to watch this, and I'm interested in your opinion about Troll Hunters, and at the very least, Troll Hunter.
Okay.
Because that goes on a couple of seasons. 3 Below spins off of it, and their storylines tie in together.
Which came first?
Troll Hunter.
Okay. I do think I started watching it. I was like,
Mm-hmm. And it's by Guillermo del Toro.
I did start watching it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And
or did I watch it?
It's voiced by the guy from Star Trek that passed away. And the bully was Glenn from Walking Dead. Yeah.
He does a lot of voice work.
He does. But he's actually really good at it. No, yeah, it's pretty funny.
In Invincible. He's in Voltron, as we mentioned earlier.
And Frasier.
Kelsey Grammer's in this?
Yeah, he's one of the trolls.
Oh, wow. All right. I got to definitely check it out. I'm feeling I did see this because you're saying the Toro, he produced it.
And 3 Below. And I think, surprisingly, he's done a couple kid-friendly stuff. And not just that, but like he has a lot of projects under his belt. Like I was a big fan of his watching The Strain. That was also his, right. and I got some of his graphic novels based on that show. Well, the show was based on the graphic novel, but either way,
right.
We're getting sidetracked. I'll check this out. I'm intrigued.
And I'll check out Troll Hunters. All right, guys, that is it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions of a series or a movie you would like us to review, please comment below. Also, if you did catch Kevin Smith's Master Universe or He-Man and Master Universe, both running on Netflix, let us know what you think. Which series did you like better or more? Until next time, will be the next time. I'm Angel.
I'm Adon.
Love you, bro.
Love you.